All right. So we all knew the Ian Garry, Colby Covington saga. I'm very disappointed in Colby Covington now more than I've ever been. To the point where I actually like Ian Garry better than I like Colby Covington. I know that's a little bit of a sin to say, but who do you think is going to get booed harder walking out? Because obviously Ian Garry has earned his hate amongst the fans with some of his attitudes. His comments on Instagram are still not up, and I think since Colby didn't uphold his end of the original agreement, I think it's safe to say that the comments aren't going back up. However, Colby Covington is really just, he's supposed to be the hero Gotham needed at that point in that scenario for a lot of people. And I think it's flipped, and Ian Garry is not the hero we deserve, but the hero we need, because I think Colby's making a position to the point where he's less likable than Ian Garry at this point. Among fans, these two get a lot of hate now, but Colby's backing himself into a corner. He wrote the check, and now he's refusing to cash it. And, yeah, I think that Ian Garry is with full confidence, knows he could beat Colby Covington. And it's not so much that, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors with those guys, so I don't know the decisions they make. I don't like to judge. But Colby Covington, when you call out someone who you think you can beat, and then you don't answer the call, all you had to do was, enter the octagon and fight with your trash talking. One part of the thing that made Conor McGregor so popular is not only did he talk a lot, but he got in the cage and backed it up. When you want to be that show cow that caused controversy, you have to win your fights. At the very least, step into the octagon. So when Colby Covington goes on, stirs it up with Ian Garry, refuses the call out, and then to a guy you consider a word I'm not going to use, you won't even fight him. And now you're saying you want a rematch with Leon because your foot got hurt. And to me, that's a bogus excuse, because even if you broke your foot midway through it, I want to point out a couple scenarios. Henry Cejudo's second fight with Demetrius Johnson, we saw where his ankle went. We saw that was a very odd thing, but Henry still toughed it out and got a split decision. Then you had, recently, Jack Della Mena versus Gilbert Burns. Jack broke his arm midway through the fight and still toughed it out and got a victory over Gilbert. So for you to say that your foot was broken and that's why, UFC is the highest caliber of fighter. Thus, you need the highest standard of fighter. Someone who's going to fight through a busted hand. Now, granted, there are some places like Anthony Pettis, when he fought Tony Ferguson, he stopped fighting because he didn't feel like he could swing with it anymore. But he still finished the round. He just didn't use his hand. Rose Namajunas, she lost to Manon, but she did break her hand in that fight, I believe, and she couldn't punch, and she still did pretty good, even though losing with one hand. So, all these things that Colby's doing, and the one show you choose to go on is, the ones that are politically aligned. And that's the thing. Colby, are you going to be a fighter or a political influencer? You could be both, but beyond anything, I want to see you be a fighter, man. So, I'm actually got to say, you're going to flip a lot of people over to Team Garry. You're actually making Ian Garry likable through this whole thing. And I think the number one thing is, if you can't go in there and fight for 303, which would definitely be one of the smartest decisions, because it is a winnable fight based on your skill set. There's no reason why you shouldn't. But you're definitely not going to get an immediate rematch with Leon Edwards. I honestly think at this point you're dreaming if you think you're going to get a fourth title shot without fighting someone at least in the top 10. You should be fighting someone who's in the top 5 right now, currently. Who do we got? Maybe fight Sean Brady even. But wait, Sean Brady would be a very bad matchup for you. I think the writing's on the wall, man. And I know I'm drowning this out, and I've made my point. But, Colby, I never thought that I would be this disappointed. Peace out.